This is ABC7 News at 5:30. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. Fast-forming tropical storm Emily hit the Suncoast Monday morning with little warning and catching many by surprise. And in northwest Bradenton, the storm left behind plenty of damage. ABC7's Dwayne Lindo is joining us live in Bradenton with a look at the aftermath today. Dwayne.
Well, Scott and Haley, the tree that you see right behind me fell around 10 to 15 feet from this owner's home. Now, the owner was gracious enough to let me stand here to do this live shot today, but she says she's very lucky to be alive.
Pretty big tree.
Trees, and more trees uprooted from their foundation from the force of Tropical Storm Emily.
Then all of a sudden, it became deadly quiet and just everything stopped. And then the roaring sound very similar to a jet plane came right over the top of the house.
Bradenton resident Art Dersheimer has been through this before and says he's lucky to get through this unharmed.
It snuck up on us, and again, just have a healthy respect for what can be delivered.
And it was raining so hard I couldn't even see the tree when it fell down.
Another Bradenton resident experiencing a massive tree falling just feet from his home. His weather station recording gusts of wind up to 73 miles per hour.
We're very fortunate. If the wind had been 90 degrees off and had gone on over there, it would have probably destroyed the house.
But this house wasn't so lucky. A tree damaging the right side of the home. No one was in it at the time. Many in the neighborhood saying this was the first they've felt this much of a storm's effect.
It is scary to think about how the high winds that we had, they're not as high as it could be, but to do something like that is scary. So I'm just trying to deal with a little bit of aftermath. We're going to definitely need some chainsaws out here tonight and get it out to the street.
Now, Manatee County and private tree companies will spend the better part of a week trying to clean up all this debris. Reporting live in Bradenton, Dwayne Lindo, your Suncoast News.
All right, Dwayne, thank you. 24 hours after Emily's wind tossed some small boats around the Sarasota Bayfront, sunshine and calmer waters returned to the waterfront today. Not only is this welcome relief to recreational boaters, it was also important for those who make their living on the water. The operations manager of the LaBarge cruise says they lost several $1,000s yesterday by not being able to leave the marina.
Well, it caused us to be shut down all day with the weather due to the severity of the weather to pop up really fast. We ended up being closed all day. People wanted to go out in the water, plus we wouldn't think it would be safe anyways.
The LaBarge is just one of several companies that make a living on the Sarasota Bayfront.
And now we're going to get a check on today's weather, which is a lot better than it looked yesterday, and head over to Bob.
That's right, and tornado confirmed again by the National Weather Service in northwest Bradenton just around 11 o'clock yesterday. As Emily came ashore, it did produce an EF0 tornado, winds at 80 miles an hour. It was on the ground for about 1.3 miles, and it was about 100 yards wide as it made its way through. I know at Orban's Nursery they had sustained damage there, and estimated damage of $96,000 as a result of the strong winds there, and that's just in one location. Well, Emily is now in the Atlantic, and it is pushing off to the northeast now. You can see there it is, and not much to it. It's still being sheared a little bit. We have some deep convection at times developing around it. Top winds are at 35. It's expected to stay as a tropical depression in time. But there's another little leftover thing is that we have this frontal boundary kind of hanging out there in the Gulf of Mexico, and another area of some moderate to heavy rainfall developing in the Gulf of Mexico. To keep an eye on this right now. Showers approaching on into Inglewood right now, and also right there near Venice. This line continues to move off in the northeasterly direction, so expect showers and storms through this evening, and this activity also pretty strong right there into Hardy County and also in the northern portions of DeSoto County. More on our weather coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. New allegations today that the infamous Trump Tower meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and several Russians with alleged ties to the Kremlin.
Sources telling ABC News it was the president who dictated the first misleading statement from Don Jr. about the nature of that meeting. As Emily Rao reports, this latest bombshell comes as the White House is reshuffling.
New White House Chief of Staff John Kelly's first order of business, calming the chaos in the West Wing.
He will do a spectacular job, I have no doubt.
The military man already exercising influence on day one with the resignation of White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci after less than 2 weeks on the job. But now, another crisis. ABC News confirming President Trump personally dictated the misleading initial statement released by Don Jr. to the New York Times, saying the meeting he, Jared Kushner, and former campaign chairman Paul Manafort had with several Russians with alleged links to the Kremlin was about adoptions and was not a campaign issue.
The president didn't sign off on anything. He was coming back from the G20. The president wasn't involved in that.
Trump's legal team then denying the president had any involvement. But sources for ABC News and The Washington Post are refuting that. Don Jr. later releasing the email chain which confirmed the meeting was campaign related and that he was told the meeting would be with a Russian government lawyer who had dirt on Hillary Clinton.
The idea that the president himself drafted a statement that was misleading, that's a big problem for the White House that's been trying to say he's not been involved.
Today, the White House insisting the president was not directly involved in writing the statement and that the original statement was accurate.
He certainly didn't dictate, but, you know, like I said, he weighed in, offered suggestion like any father would do.
Sanders calling the whole thing a PR stunt and a phony, false narrative. Emily Rao, ABC News, Washington.
New developments tonight involving the Pulse shooting in Orlando. A federal judge is now allowing the wife of the shooter to get a mental evaluation. The judge in Noor Salman's case says that she can be evaluated by a psychologist or psychiatrist picked by prosecutors since her defense attorneys plan to introduce evidence related to her mental health. Salman has pleaded not guilty to obstructing the investigation and aiding and abetting her husband, Omar Mateen, who opened fire at the club in June of 2016. 49 people were killed at the club in that shooting. Salman's trial is set for March.
Florida's mandatory minimum gun laws are upheld by an appeals court judge who also criticized the laws. The judge regretfully agreeing a man's 20-year sentence for firing a gun into the ground must be upheld. The judge called Eric Wright's case a classic example of how mandatory minimum sentencing laws create injustices. Court documents show Wright was at his fiance's Jacksonville home in 2013 when an ex-girlfriend barged in and refused to leave. Wright pulled out a gun and fired it into the ground to scare her. The trial judge said she was forced by law to sentence him to 20 years for aggravated assault, despite him not having any criminal record. The law changed last year to eliminate aggravated assault from mandatory sentencing, but it was not retroactive.
The look of your driver's license is about to change. Later this month, 8 tax collector offices around the state will begin offering new ID cards. One of those 8 locations is here on the Suncoast. It's the office on 301 West in Bradenton. The new credentials are supposed to be more difficult to counterfeit while making personal information stored on the ID more secure. A representative for the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles says that Florida ID cards have not been updated in more than a decade. The new ones have much better technology.
Almost double the number of security features on the current card. Some you'll see, some you will not see. And that's to maintain security so that a law enforcement officer or anyone that needs to authenticate that credential can safely do so.
The new driver's licenses will have your photo in 4 locations. Additionally, the ID will show whether someone is a veteran or an organ donor, if the person is deaf or developmentally disabled, along with whether the cardholder has a lifetime hunting or fishing license. The new licenses should be available statewide and online by the end of the year.
By most standards, the economy in the U.S. is thriving. Home prices are soaring and the markets are hitting new highs. But on the ground, thousands of middle-class families are struggling to make ends meet. That's because while productivity is up 72% since 1979, real median wages have risen only about 9%. So what's to blame? Is it part of the recovery from the Great Recession, or is it something else?
The fact that wages have been slower to respond and haven't really shown any signs of inflation is really a byproduct of how severe the recession was.
Tonight on ABC7 News at 7, we'll take a look at the post-recession economy and why those wages are not budging.
Tomorrow, you can learn more about the plans for the new Venice Library. Sarasota County is inviting the community to learn about the status of the project. There will be 2 engagement sessions on Tuesday where you can learn about the library's site plan and architectural features. Residents will also be able to talk to the architects that designed the new library as well as county staff. Those sessions will be at the Venice Community Center at 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m.
And they want that new library.
They're very passionate about their library there.
Still to come in your Suncoast News tonight, help wanted to navigate the friendly skies. Why one company is sounding the alarm now on a possible pilot shortage.
Plus, a new look for a popular music club, the renovations being made to the 5 o'clock club in Sarasota. That's straight ahead.
Now's the perfect time to work with California Closets. During our Shades of White event, save up to 20% on our beautiful white finishes for any space in your home. Contact us today for your free design consultation. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
During the past 10 years, Tidewell Hospice volunteers have provided more than 1 million hours of service. They sit with patients, giving caregivers a break. They work in offices. They take their furry friends on pet therapy visits. They even clown around. Every task performed by a volunteer makes a difference in the lives of our patients and their families. Join Tidewell's volunteer team. They're truly 1 in a million. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Let me introduce you to the ultimate Florida window. Do you feel safer with this or this? You'll be proud too.
Going on now. For every 2 windows you buy, get 1 more free. Call today.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I'm creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
Now's the perfect time to work with California Closets. During our Shades of White event, save up to 20% on our beautiful white finishes for any space in your home. Contact us today for your free design consultation. Visit our showroom or online at californiaclosets.com.
The American Cancer Society estimates that in 2017, 1 in every 15 Americans will be diagnosed with lung cancer. It's the most common form of cancer death in the country. So the EPA and other health organizations are marking World Lung Cancer Day to spread information about the threat. Kim Hutcherson shows us what they're doing.
August 1st is World Lung Cancer Day, an event that aims to spread awareness about the #1 cancer killer of Americans. According to the American Cancer Society, every day more than 430 people die of lung cancer. That's roughly 1 death every 3 minutes. Lung cancer develops when the cells in the lungs mutate or change. The majority of cases, about 90%, are tied to one behavior: smoking. The American Lung Association says cigarette smoking is the top risk factor for lung cancer, but breathing in dangerous chemicals can also put you at risk. The EPA estimates that radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer after smoking. Radon exposure causes about 21,000 lung cancer deaths every year. Nearly 3,000 of those deaths are in people who have never smoked. Experts say you should test your home's indoor air for radon, and if you smoke, stop. There are many resources online that can help you quit. You'll not only reduce your risk of lung cancer, you'll reduce the risk for your loved ones, since secondhand smoke causes about 3,000 lung cancer deaths in non-smokers every year. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Now we'll head over to Bob and get a check on today's forecast.
Well, get a look at this. The Van Wezel webcam showing some towering cumulonimbus offshore as a result of the frontal boundary that continues to be rather active. We'll put the time lapse into motion and show you the clouds are increasing and these showers are approaching as showers and storms are starting to thicken up a bit, especially in South Sarasota County, into Englewood, also near Venice and Rotunda. Now, the weather headlines read like this. Emily is taking off to the northeast, and we still have a frontal boundary kind of located out here in the Gulf of Mexico. The tornado was confirmed by the National Weather Service in northwest Bradenton yesterday, just before 11 o'clock, and storms through this evening are possible, and then more storms expected on Wednesday. Well, as far as that tornado goes, it was an EF0. That's 65 to 85 mile-an-hour winds. It's the lowest on the enhanced Fujita scale. And we had some damage associated with it, up to almost $100,000 worth of damage. Northwest Bradenton tornado, 80 mile-an-hour winds on the ground for 1.3 miles, and the width was 100 yards, which is fairly typical with tornadoes in Florida. They hit, get, move on, and they don't stick around very long at all. So again, that's what we had yesterday, confirmed by the National Weather Service survey team. Well, they're a bow echo, if you will, moving right into Venice and Englewood. Some very heavy rainfall. Possibility of some minor street flooding now into South Sarasota County near Englewood and Northport. Get ready. It's moving in your direction. The news is, though, it's somewhat breaking up a little bit, so it's not as intense as it once was out there in the Gulf of Mexico. You can kind of see that as it spreads apart a little bit, that more concentrated rain just about an hour ago, about 60 miles offshore of Venice. And now we're getting showers moving into Rotunda, Englewood, I mentioned on in toward Venice. Now, the heavier weather that we're seeing here in Wauchula and places to the south Wauchula associated with more of the sea breeze front. Well, the dry air that had been in place is slowly inching out of here once again, so the atmosphere will moisten up considerably on Wednesday. A good shot for showers and storms on Wednesday at any time during the day. 87 degrees right now. The clouds have indeed moved in. West to southwest winds are at 8 miles an hour, so not very strong out there. The pressure 29.99 inches. That has been rising ever so slowly throughout the day. The high today was a couple degrees shy of the average. So was the low this morning at 73. The record 101 set back in 1972. Well, the rainfall, we've caught up, but now we're going below it a little bit for today. We haven't had any rain at the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. Those winds will be out of the west to southwest through tonight and tomorrow. And more moisture moving in along that old frontal boundary will bring us showers and storms. A pretty good chance of that happening tomorrow. Rain chance fairly high at 70%. 91 in Orlando, Jacksonville at 87. Cooler with some rain, heavy rain in Miami at 75 degrees. This particular model did not really figure that out there in the Gulf of Mexico, so I wouldn't give it much credit through the next 12 hours or so. But tomorrow, a good chance for showers and storms moving onshore associated with that moisture out there in the Gulf, and a little disturbance rotating around it. For boaters tomorrow, winds out of the southwest, but keep an eye out for the storms moving through. And winds and seas will be higher near those. 2-foot seas, a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now at 89 degrees. Beaches, it'll be hit or miss. We'll have some showers at times, some scattered thunderstorms. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. High tide upcoming 10:50, and a low tide will be at 2:53. The forecast tonight, showers and storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy and warm, 78 for your low. Tomorrow, variable clouds, a 70% chance for showers and thunderstorms. Some of that could bring some locally heavy rain, 89 for a high. And the extended forecast, less of a chance on Friday, and then back to more seasonal conditions on Saturday and Sunday with those afternoon and evening storms. Back to you.
Thank you, Bob. Now to Suncoast Traffic Watch. Traffic is still backed up along US 41 in the north and southbound lanes near Fruitville Road.
Maybe lots of job opportunities in the friendly skies. Depending on the source, the U.S. could face a shortage of pilots in the near future. Boeing released its forecast this week. It states that for airlines to meet the demand for air travel in the next 20 years, airlines in North America are going to need to hire 177,000 new pilots. Not having enough pilots could wreak havoc on air travel, grounding planes and reducing service to some cities if routes are cut or curtailed. Still, pilots and their unions contend there is no shortage, only a perceived one.
The new owners of the popular 5 O'Clock Club in Sarasota are working hard to reopen the business in just 3 days. Steve and Mike Evanoff, the father-son duo behind the Evie's restaurants, recently purchased this club. They're now overseeing the renovations. Michael Evanoff says the inside was cleaned, new furniture has been added. There's also a new jukebox, a pool table, new and improved outdoor area as well. The owners plan to work with local musicians to get them on a performance schedule. An iconic restaurant on the Suncoast is closing, but not for good. The Linger Lodge restaurant in Manatee County is closing for maintenance and renovation work. The restaurant sits on the banks of the Braden River. It's known for its unusual stuffed animal displays, all the taxidermy throughout the restaurant. The new owners plan to install a new roof, add handicap accessible restrooms, also upgrade the electrical wiring and plumbing. The restaurant is expected to reopen in October, in time for season, of course.
I'm sure it'll still have its unique charm.
It will, because that's what makes it so special.
Entertainment news is next. Stay with us.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has answered calls for recovery and treatment 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're depressed, drinking, using drugs, or taking pills, call now and talk to someone who cares.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Most insurance covers substance abuse. You can get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call 800-622-1941. 800-622-1941.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better reader.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
I'm Alan Cohn. The stock market is soaring, so why aren't middle-income salaries doing the same? Why aren't working families sharing in the so-called boom?
Tonight on ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Queen Elizabeth's husband, 96-year-old Prince Philip, is retiring from the public spotlight.
Tomorrow, the Duke will attend his last official public engagement with a Captain General's parade of the Royal Marines in London. He is Captain General of the Commando Force. Prince Philip has accompanied the Queen on her royal duties since 1952, but he's had some health challenges in recent years, including a recent hospitalization in June for the treatment of an infection. In 2009, he became the longest-serving British consort.
J.K. Rowling is apologizing about tweets she made about President Trump recently. The Harry Potter author called the president horrible after seeing footage of him appearing to ignore a child's outstretched hand during a White House event last week. But the boy's mother says President Trump did not ignore her son, and he was not even trying to shake his hand. Rowling apologized, saying she was projected by her sensitivity for disabled children.
George and Amal Clooney stepping up to help educate Syrian refugee children. The couple's foundation is partnering with UNICEF to fund 7 public schools in Lebanon and help some 3,000 refugee students currently not attending school. The foundation announced the $2.25 million partnership today. Google and HP are also donating. Amal Clooney is a former refugee. She was 2 years old when her family fled war-torn Lebanon. Carol
Burnett is asking kids to solve adult problems on her new Netflix show. The comedian will debut a half-hour unscripted comedy called A Little Help with Carol Burnett next year. In each episode, in front of a studio audience, both celebrities and everyday people talk to a panel of kids ranging in ages from 4 to 8, asking for advice about their problems. And hilarity will ensue.
I can imagine.
Kids are so honest.
Right. That's a really good point. And she's hilarious.
Yes.
She has the best sense of humor, so that's going to be quite entertaining.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more news. Stay with us.